Hi, and welcome to another episode of Rob's Triathlon Tips for Beginners. This is a video about things you may want to consider if you're flying to a triathlon race instead of going by ground in your car or a bus or something. The main stress of flying to a race is going to be shipping your bike. But the first thing I want to give as a tip is to look at the airline you're flying and what qualifies as a carry-on luggage and get the biggest thing you can that sort of fits those dimensions and put as much of your race kit, including your shoes, as you possibly can, even your wetsuit, everything you can, other than your bike. Get it in that bag and take it with you on the flight. And what that does is eliminate the possibility that something goes wrong and all that stuff is like at a different airport or left behind, or right, like that would be a nightmare if you got to your race location and you're missing all of your kit, and then you're like scrambling to buy a bunch of stuff and it's not stuff you've trained in, and you get chafing in your race, and that would just be terrible. Maybe it doesn't fit right. You don't need that stress. Put everything you can in your carry-on is tip number one. So back to the bike. The first time I flew to a race was Ironman 70.3 Muskoka in Ontario, Canada. And luckily the plane was big enough that you could take my bike case and it would be classified as cargo, or not cargo, as oversized. For smaller planes, they have different restrictions on dimensions of things, which I'll get to in terms of my race in September. So for Muskoka, it was all good. What they do is they look at the total dimensions of your case, so depth, height, width, and if it's for the airline I'm flying in September to Ironman Canada in Penticton, they said the limit was 80 inches total for the small aircraft that I'm flying on, which is a Dash 8. But for the flight to Muskoka, the dimensions of the case were okay. So we get to the airport and you have to check it as oversized luggage. And so we went over to that area, and there's a straight belt. And wouldn't you know it, the case is so big and the belt isn't big enough that it won't go through the sort of x-ray scanner for oversized items. So you gotta open it up, and the agent has to do a visual inspection of your case to make sure you don't have anything bad in there, and that you've let some air out of your tires so that they won't explode and changing pressure in the flight. And they also look for these little things, CO2 cartridges, which you may have to fill up your tires if you get a flat and you want to put a new tube in. So that's not allowed to go on a plane. The only exception from what I've read is some people, I guess, have these for like artificial limbs, arms and legs. Maybe they have CO2 cartridges in them for medical use, basically, is the exception. So they do the inspection of your case, and then you seal it back up, and they put a sticker on it saying inspected, and then they put it off to the side because it's too big to go through the belt down into the baggage system and be put on the plane. And then they said, we'll call for a baggage handling person, and they'll come pick it up and take it through security and put it on the plane. And I thought, I bet that they forget. We're going to walk away and they're going to forget. So I took a picture of the case. We went through passenger screening, went right to our gate, and showed the picture to the agents at the gate and said, I'm doing a race. I really need to know that my bike is on the plane, or I'm going to be stressed out in Ontario that my bike is not there. So they checked, and with the baggage handlers, And it turns out that I was right, that it was still sitting before security. So then they made sure to get it, and it barely got on the plane before before we had to take off. So that's an example of where that level of paranoia definitely paid off. And then in that case, knowing that CO2 cartridges were not allowed, I made a plan to visit a bike shop in Ontario before the race to get a couple of these. And then, of course, they just kind of went in the garbage after the race because I didn't use them anymore. They couldn't go back on the flight back home. So that's kind of a shame. I guess you could try and find a local athlete and give them to them or something, or turn them back into the bike shop or something. So that's one scenario that you may run into if you want to take your bike on the plane and it qualifies as oversized baggage. There are some companies in the US, I haven't found one in Canada, that you can pay to transport your bike by ground. Basically, they have like big vans or trucks that they ship bikes in, and that would be a fantastic option to take a lot of pressure off of you if it's available to you. You may also have the scenario that I'm currently faced with, where I am traveling to Penticton, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm taking two flights. They're shorter flights, and they're on small Dash 8 airplanes with propellers. And again, it pays to be paranoid. I contacted the airline, and they said, "Okay, what are the dimensions of your case?" And I said, they said if it's over 80 inches total, then it qualifies as cargo, not oversized. And so I looked at the dimensions, and it was too big to be called oversized. So then I checked, and that airline doesn't fly cargo to Penticton. So another wrench, right? So who flies cargo to Penticton? A different airline. So what I am going to end up doing the week of the race is I've arranged with a local triathlon shop to rent a case from them. I will pick it up on the Wednesday, pack my bike immediately, take it to the airport, put it on a cargo flight with the one airline that flies cargo to Penticton. The next day, I take my two flights to Penticton with my family, and then we'll pick up my bike. So that's the scenario that I'm faced with. And again, highlights the fact that you really need to do some serious thinking and planning, and look at every aspect of what could go wrong at the last minute with trying to get your bike to your race. I guess another option would be you can find a local triathlon club and see, like, maybe they have a Facebook group, or they have a Strava group or something, and you can reach out to them and see if any of those athletes are driving to the race and might be willing to take your bike in their truck or something. Now that could be an option too. So hopefully found all this information valuable, and I hope it prevents issues for you on your first race that you fly to. If you found the video useful, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, make sure to hit the notification button and click the bell so you get all notifications of new videos, and share this video with friends that may benefit from it as well. Thanks.